So there's been a lot of talk about new brands entering the market, right? And understandably, a lot of that has been around Chinese brands. But in fact, one of the newest brands to Singapore is actually Cupra, which was launched in March this year. Now, Cupra has committed to going fully electric by 2030, and that's not really that far away, but that's also not quite here yet. So in the meantime, Cupra is actually bringing 3 internal combustion engine models into Singapore. And so we've come here to Cupra's home in Barcelona, Spain to learn more about the brand and to get up close with those 3 cars.
The Terramar is an all-new model, but also the last new model to be launched with an internal combustion engine. In Singapore, it will be offered with a 1.5-litre mild hybrid powertrain with 148 brake horsepower.
Alright, so this is the new Cupra Terramar. This will be the all-new model that's coming to Singapore, right? So this is a petrol model. Under the bonnet, we have a 1.5-litre engine that makes 148 brake horsepower. So it's going to be the same 1.5-litre engine you'll find in a lot of the VW Group products like the Golf. So this is more of your traditional compact SUV. Think of it as the Cupra equivalent of something like a Tiguan, right? How does it feel on the road? It feels like a traditional SUV, so it's kind of tall riding, especially compared to something like the Formentor. It's definitely on the slightly softer side, so there are only comfort mode, a performance mode, as well as an individual mode. And you know, let's put in performance. Again, it's not massively changing the character of the car, right? It's still fundamentally a softish riding car. So, you know, we have this adjustable DCC here. Let's put it to the maximum stiffness. It's still not overly stiff, and you know, that's kind of the point of this car. It's supposed to be quite a comfortable car with a decent amount of performance, you know, 148 brake horsepower isn't a ton, so it's not super quick either. And the overall experience feels, I'll be very honest, it feels very, very familiar. It feels like what you expect a VW Group product in this kind of size to feel like. So now just running on the highway, it's a quiet car. You know, this is also a mild hybrid, so you can do like your engine shut off if you needed to, and it's an easy enough car to drive. Now the next car to talk about is the Leon, and that should be a familiar enough nameplate, right? The Leon is the Seat equivalent of the Volkswagen Golf. With this Cupra though, it is undergoing its mid-cycle facelift, and the biggest change is the way it looks. It's very much in line with the rest of the product range right now. And honestly, I think it's a really good looking car. Now let's quickly take a look around the interior, and let's be very honest, it's more or less the same as what you'll find in something like a Mark 8.5 Golf. So digital cluster, big infotainment screen. Generally the controls are quite ergonomic. I like how everything is laid out. I like that you have your drive modes here, you have your engine start stop here. And you know, all things considered, it's quite a simple interior. Obviously, there are some of the Cupra touches, right? So you have your gold trim over here, you have your gold threading over here, some of these textured surfaces. Yeah, I like it. I think it looks nice, it looks a little bit cool, it looks a little bit different, it looks a little bit fun.
On the road, the Leon feels familiar. It shares its underpinnings with the Volkswagen Golf, and it certainly feels that way. It's compact, quite eager around corners, while still being perfectly comfortable when driven lightly. And while it may not have a ton of power, it still manages to deliver a good level of engagement when you want to hustle it up mountain roads.
And the next car that will be coming to Singapore is this. This is the Cupra Formentor. So it's actually the first standalone model that the Cupra brand produced, and it has undergone a mid-cycle facelift. And for Singapore, this will be essentially the performance variant because it has a 2-litre engine that has about 330 brake horsepower. Now, some of the most notable and distinctive details will be the signature lighting that you'll find across all the Cupra models. So for example, here you have that 3-triangle signature. And at the rear here, you can see again that 3-triangle signature and the fully illuminated logo at the back. And let's quickly take a look at the interior of the car. It's going to be quite a familiar space, right? So you're going to have all of your copper stitching bits, which is honestly very nice. I must say, I quite like these bucket seats. Now, if we check out some of the digital elements of this car, obviously, we're going to have the instrument cluster that's fully digital, and you can have your different views. You can toggle between a bunch of different settings. And of course, you have your main infotainment screen. So let's run through some of the things. This will be your main menu, right? And then you have your various apps, stuff like that, your drive modes, So all fairly standard stuff that you will expect. So a little bit about the positioning of this particular car. So this Formentor is not actually the biggest car in the lineup, but it effectively functions as something of the flagship model because this is the VZ variant. This is the one Singapore is getting, and that has that same 2-litre engine that you'll find in something like a GTI. So this is essentially going to be the full-fat variant of the Cupra. Now in terms of overall cabin quality, I must say it's quite high. You know, let's be real, this is not the newest, latest Cupra model you're gonna get. So some of the specific elements are gonna be a little bit dated, right? So you're not gonna get all the flashy touches, but you know, still it's a very, very nice space. It feels quite premium, it feels comfortable. I actually really like these bucket seatbelt seats. Hopefully we'll get them in Singapore as well. So we're here in the back seat, and this is your more standard boxy compact SUV, and generally space feels decent enough, right? It's not amazing, it's okay headroom and decent amount of legroom. Now, a couple of, I guess, interesting things is that you can slide the seat forward to create more boot space, and you can also fold down the seats, and that means that you can also recline it a little bit depending on how you want the backrest angle. Now that's just a quick look at the car. Let's go drive the car and see how it feels on the road. So some initial impressions of this Formentor VZ, right? So we have 300 brake horsepower, 330 brake horsepower, so it's obviously plenty quick. If I put my foot down, yep, it's plenty fast. But you know, performance aside, I think the thing that perhaps sticks out immediately is the fact that this is definitely tuned to be a sportier model. So the overall ride is slightly on the firm side, and this is already in the comfort setting. So there's obviously like the performance setting, there's a lot sharper throttle response, a little bit firmer, but not a ton firmer, I must say. Now the other thing that perhaps stands out is the fact that while this is one of those, you know, coupe SUV things, one of those weird things, it doesn't actually feel that tall riding. You know, it's not like a sedan, you know, not flat to the ground, but it's quite an interesting kind of balance between something that's quite sporty and something that's still going to be quite comfortable for daily driving. So, you know, I'm just driving normally on roads now, doing 70, and it's comfortable, quite easy to place on the roads. We are though going to be taking this onto the track, so we're going to put it through some of its paces, drive it a little bit harder, well, drive it a lot harder, and we'll see how it fares there. Alright, so we've now come to the racetrack, and we're going to be driving this Formentor 333. So as the name would suggest, it has about 330 horsepower. So we're obviously not going to get this model in Singapore, but we're just going to put it through its paces. And interesting thing, the lead car is not just another Cupra, it's a Cupra Leon TCR, so that's a race car. So I'm obviously going to struggle to keep up, but let's see what we can do. Okay, so what can I tell you about this car? It's still, all things considered, quite high-riding SUV, so you know, it's not going to feel extremely planted to the ground, but it handles with good composure, right? You know, you can feel it moving, but it moves quite naturally. It also has four-wheel drive, so you know, you can kind of get a little bit lazy in the corners, and it will still kind of help you out. You know, it's holding you out of corners pretty well. And I probably spent most of that fast lap just thinking he's way faster. But you know, I think it's quite impressive, right? And I think this is what Cupra is trying to go for. It wants a car that is finding that balance between, yeah, still being practical enough for your family, but it has that element of fun, it has that element of performance within the car. And I think this demonstrates that to a certain extent. Well, we're not going to be getting this particular variant in Singapore, so you know, no 330 brake horsepower for us.
Yes, the Cupra brand started life as Seat's performance offshoot, and even with the brand going alone, that shared mechanical DNA is impossible to shake. Cupra is hoping that a distinctive and bold design language will help set the brand apart. The result is a range of cars that have a very distinctive look to them, and honestly, I think they look pretty good. Not bland, that's for sure.
So yes, that's a quick look at some of the upcoming models from Cupra and a little bit more about the Cupra brand as well. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and do remember to like, share and subscribe to our channel. And you can also hit the notification bell to be alerted of all our upcoming videos. And of course, also check us out on TikTok at Sgcarmart. So that's my time here in Spain done. I'll see you back home. Bye! Hey everyone, welcome back to Barcelona, and you join me in lovely sunny Barcelona. Now a quick look in the interior. I'll be very honest, it's basically the Mark 8.5 there. This is obviously the Cupra variant, and this is a variant, no, again,